Now that I have finished off my sketch here, the next thing I might want to do is extrude this sketch to give it some sort of thickness or depth to create a 3D object. So the first thing I might want to do here is just rotate my view a little bit, just so I can see a 3D view here, which will be important if I'm obviously adding a depth or a thickness. And notice as soon as I've gone into that kind of 3D view, now all of a sudden all of my closed sketches have turned to this light blue color, telling me in fact they are a closed out sketch that can be extruded. So to extrude any closed out sketch in Shaper 3D, very simple process. I can simply tap to select whatever closed out section I may like. Notice it's coming in now this kind of darker shade of blue, telling me that it's obviously selected here. Notice that some options automatically popped up, and it looks like it's jumped me by default into the Extrude tool. And of course, as we will see throughout these lessons, depending upon what I select, my tool might change. Now, to actually extrude this sketch, a very simple process. I can simply tap and pull on my arrows to extrude up, let's say, or down, whatever it might be. And also, I can, of course, extrude up with my pencil, but I could also define an exact value. So right now it's looking like it's 8 millimeters. I could change that to 15 millimeters, for example. Tap the green check to finish off that exact dimension. Notice I also have one other set of arrows here within my extrude command, as we can see here, and this determines the draft angle on my extrusion. And we'll go into draft in further detail later on. However, essentially, as you can see, this will just angle or taper your extrusion. In this case, let's say I don't want any draft angle, so I'll just tap undo. What's also important with my extrude tool is I can extrude multiple sketches at the same time. So here I'll just tap to select all 3 circular sketches, let's say, and I can extrude all 3 of these up at the same time. And again, I'll just tap to undo. Also important to note is if I were to tap to select, let's say, all of my closed out sketches here, now notice since all of these sketches are connected, if I were to extrude each of these together, notice it's all coming in as one body instead of multiple unique bodies. And again, we're going to learn more about bodies and folders later on. But in this case, however, we know that in my design, I actually didn't want the entire sketch to be extruded the same depth or thickness. I wanted the circular sketches to be extruded a little bit higher than the base of my bracket. So again, I'll tap undo. And what I'd like to do here is, let's say, tap to select all 3 circular sketches, and maybe I'd like to extrude those up, and let's do a specific dimension, let's say maybe 20 millimeters. And now for the base portion of my design, maybe I'd like that to be a different thickness, so I can tap to select this base portion and extrude that up, whatever dimension I'd like. Let's give it some different dimension, maybe 12 millimeters. And now we can see we've created this fairly complex 3D shape very easily by using the extrude tools.